Hello, Bulldogs. Welcome back. I'm so glad you're sticking with the story. It's only going to get better. We left off as I was starting chapter 2. I'm going to jump right in. Going to use my glasses, so. Dream. This morning I wake up in my cozy bed, way too early for Julia to make me breakfast. She and her mom and dad are still asleep. Even the guinea pigs are silent. My belly grumbles, and once again I curse my thumblessness. Humans have one big design flaw: the inferior noses, the inscrutable humdrum rumps, and don't get me started on their odor. But the opposable thumb idea? Yeah, that was a nice upgrade. The cans I could open, the doorknobs I could conquer. Anyways, I feel worried. Off. Worry is a waste of time, and it doesn't fit with my tough guy act, but sometimes I can't seem to keep it to myself. Before I woke up, I had been dreaming about Ivan and Ruby and Stella. It wasn't a nice dream, a fun and run toe twitcher. Nope, this one was a nightmare, a bad one. We were swimming, all four of us, in a black raging river. For some reason, I was in the lead, and I kept looking back, telling them I was going to save them. Me, save them? 2 elephants and a gorilla? As I paddled like mad, their voices faded. I looked behind me, and they'd vanished. And then I heard it, a faint bark. That bark. I woke up then, like I always do. I did an all-over shake, trying to toss off the stench of the nightmare that clung to me like shampoo after a bath. I told myself to chill, get a grip, stop worrying about nothing. And yet, some private part of my brain, the wolf in me maybe, is on edge. A lot can go wrong in the moment left to chance, the blink of an eye, the bounce of a bone. There are so many ways the world can find to fail you. The smell of a storm. By the time everyone else wakes up, I've calmed down, but the wind outside sure hasn't. It's an early fall Saturday, gusty, with scraps of stars, clouds bouncing off each other like bunnies in a basket. Messages on the wind pouring in from everywhere, from dogs making their daily rounds, from feral cats, from anxious raccoons. Basically, everybody is asking the same thing: what is the deal with the weather today? I already know. Weather Channel was on last night with a screen full of big, white, cotton candy looking swirls. Julia's dad, George, has already taped up several windows. Sarah, her mom, packed an emergency bag just in case we have to evacuate. Another hurricane is on its way, third this season. Not as big as the last couple, but slow moving. I've seen the routine, know the ropes. Once breakfast is done, I sit on the couch in the living room, waiting impatiently for Julia to come home so she can take me on our daily stroll. She has a dog walking service, and she's out walking other dogs. I get my own private walk, because she's my own private girl. I can practically taste the storm coming through the open window, the back of my throat tingle, the metallic edge, the fizzy energy. But it's more than that. It's as if the air is up to no good, sneaking up on the world and looking for trouble. On the poetry of stink. Of course, not everybody can smell what I'm smelling. My nose is a zillion times more powerful than a human's. Dogs are expert at odor, students of stink. We analyze the air the way humans read poetry, searching for invisible truths. And we don't just smell the good and bad stuff that people notice with their substandard schnozzes, the usual suspects: popcorns and lilacs and freshly sharpened pencils, diapers and Brussels sprouts and freaked out skunks. No, our noses get it all. The whole shimmery double rainbow in April. Humans, they're lucky to get a cloudy day in November. We get that molecule of roast beast dancing on the wind 50 miles from the tidy kitchen where it just slid out of the oven. We get the cherry lollipop under the back seat of the Honda 16 cars up on the highway at rush hour. We get things humans can't even dream of getting. We're the ones who find the miracle earthquake baby cuddled in a crib under tons of rubble. We're the ones who find lost hikers in the wilderness after a quick whiff of a sweaty sock. We can even tell when someone's sick. We can smell seizures and cancer and migraine headaches. Try getting a guinea pig to do that. We smell feelings too. Sad has a sharp scent with an undertone of sweetness. Sad smells like being lost in a winter forest as the sun goes down. And happy? Happy is the best, but there's a touch of wistfulness around the edges. Happy smells like bacon ice cream served up in an expensive leather shoe. You're going to love every minute of it, but you know it won't last forever. The news. Sometimes when Julia and I go for walks, I'll break at a corner. Corners are the best for fresh news. And she'll tug and say, "Come on, Bob, there's nothing there." Oh, but there is. Here's the thing with poop and pee. I get that humans are not into them. I see the bathroom door shut, the embarrassed, downcast gazes. You guys are totally missing out. There's a whole lot of info hiding in your average pee mail. When dogs want to share the latest gossip, we just wait until nature calls. You'd be amazed at what we can learn during a quick bathroom break. People read the news, check the TV, browse the web. I linger over a fire hydrant and inhale the whole wide world. My ears, by the way, are almost as remarkable as my nose. I pick up on all kinds of things humans can't hear. What we do with our noses and our ears is kind of like taking a big old knot and loosening it up, separating out the strands, unbraiding things. People smell a reeking pile of trash in a dumpster. We smell a dollop of cream cheese, a hint of peanut butter, a smattering of Fruit Loops. People hear the roar of a crowd in a stadium. We hear the strain of a whiny 4-year-old, a whisper of a worried superfan, a note of a grumpy hot dog vendor. Man, dogs are cool. Snickers. While I watch from my perch on the back of the couch, Julia passes by on the sidewalk. George asks her to keep her dog walking route close to home in case the weather changes. She's wearing a shiny purple raincoat and leading 3 dogs, a goofy mutt named Winston, a timid dachshund named Oscar Mayer, and her, Snickers. An old nemesis of mine. Snickers is a fluffy white poodle with delusions of grandeur, a big snooty pain in the puffball. Oh, that pooch drives me crazy. Our mutual dislike goes back to my early days as a stray. Snickers was a fancy, pampered, sleep in a pink satin pillow kind of gal. Her owner, Mac, ran the mall, where I lived with Ivan and Ruby. That's where I first encountered Snickers. She teased me mercilessly beneath the fuzzy facade. I always suspected there was a little, I don't know, spark there. Anyways, after the mall closed down, Snickers, being a Snickers, landed on her feet. Mac married an older widow lady with more money than sense, and she dotes on that ridiculous poodle. Mac's too lazy to walk Snickers himself, so he hired Julia to do it. "Looking good, Snick baby," I call through the open window, and she gives me her curled up, squinty-eyed face, which, come to think of it, is pretty much how she always looks. As usual, Snickers is dressed to the max. She's wearing a pink poncho, a sparkly rain hat, and teensy pink boots. "Those boots are made for muckin'," I add for good measure. It feels good giving her some grief, but before I can really relish the moment, another annoying acquaintance of mine appears. Nutwit. Nutwit, the gray squirrel, lives in the live oak in our front lawn, jumps to a lower branch, looking at me with barely concealed pity. I hate pity, especially the barely concealed kind. "I don't know why you taunt her," he says. "You're hardly in a position to talk." "Bob, you are Snickers. Come on over here to the window and say that." So you can, what, drool me to death? "Are you aware that my best friend is a gorilla?" I ask. "You would make a fantastic ape chow dude." Nutwit reaches for a jangling acorn and yanks it free. "I thought gorillas were vegetarians." "Ivan eats termites," I say. "He might make an exception for you." "Face it, Bob. You're soft. You're one step away from your own pink rain boots." "He has a point," says Minnie, one of the family's guinea pigs from her cage next to the TV. "No, he doesn't," says Moo, her cage mate. "Yes, he does," Minnie squeaks. "Doesn't. Doesn't." Minnie pauses. "Wait, you tricked me." The guinea pigs rarely agree on anything. Nutwit leaps over the window ledge, acorn in paw. He presses his tiny, twitchy nose to the screen. "You couldn't last a day out here, Bob. Some of us have to live by our wiles." "Hey, I lived on the street longer than you've been alive." Nutwit nibbles his acorn. He's quite the prissy eater. "Whatever you say, Bob." I say scram. "Fine, hint taken. Anyway, storm's en route. I should be stocking up on my nut stash while I can. Nutwit gives me an wise guy look. That's how we do it in the real world. He scampers off with an acrobatic flourish. Squirrels never do a single jump when a quadruple backflip cartwheel is an option. You're full of it, I say to nobody in particular. We're full of it, says Minnie. Yes, we're extremely full of it, says Moo, and they popcorn in agreement. Guinea pigs hop up and down when they're happy. It's called popcorning, and it's totally ridiculous. You're happy, you wag your tail like a real mammal. I'm not soft, I mutter, nosing my protruding belly. I leap with effort off the couch. Then I head to the bathroom for a good long drink from the water bowl of power. Spoiled. I know Nutwit has a point. I've become a creature of habit, spoiled after a stretch of being my own dog. For a long time, I was Bob the Beast, cunning and streetwise. As a stray, I lived off leftovers at the mall, while Snickers dined in her fancy pants on her fancy pants kibble. Man, how I loved that cotton candy stuck to the floor, the unexpected UFOs, the ends of ketchup-covered hot dogs scattered around under the bleachers like, I don't know, big toes or something. Ivan offered to share his grill of food with me, and Stella and Ruby were always ready to pass along a carrot or an apple, but I refused. I needed to stay in shape, stay tough, stay true to my wild nature. Okay, so maybe every now and then I'd sneak a banana chunk from Ivan's breakfast. But then things changed. I became civilized, domesticated, a pet. Don't get me wrong, there are definitely some perks. Julia, who's an artist, painted my name on a food bowl. She gave me this wonderfully mushy blanket, the kind where you can bed boogie forever till it's squished to perfection and you can curl up on it just so. I love that blanket, but I simply cannot sleep without Not Tag, Ivan's raggedy old toy gorilla. Of course, just when I get my blanket and my Not Tag imprinted with the right amount of Eau de Bob, Julia's mom does the unthinkable, puts them in the washing machine and removes every last bit of me. There are other indignities I tolerate. The daily walk on the tug-of-war-string after going stringless my whole life. The attempts to train me like that will ever happen. The kisses and the cuddling, well, the cuddling's okay, I suppose. But the kissing, I just don't get it. If you want to kiss your dog, why not just give him a big old lick on the face and be done with it? Anyways, so what if I've gotten a little spoiled, a tad soft around the edges? There's a difference between being soft and being afraid, being a coward. Another confession. Too bad I know the truth. I'm both. Cricket bully. When Julia returns from walking her charges, I race over and give her a good old Bob-style hello, lots of yipping and twirling, followed by some attempts to jump into her arms. Humans love that stuff. Julia looks at me sternly and says, Robert, down. I leap some more because I'm determined to convince her I'm incorrigible, untrainable. It's part of my charm, my bobliness. Down, she says again. From her coat pocket, she pulls out her little metal clicker, along with some treats. I hate that clicker. It's meant to help train me, but it's like a cricket bully. Here's the theory. I do something right, Julia clicks, gives me a treat. The click tells me when I'm behaving, and the treats reinforce it. If that happens enough, before your very eyes, I'm supposed to transform into a good dog. Well, I ain't that easy. Down, Bob, Julia tries again. I want her treat, but not enough to cave. So I opt for a play bow, a compromise. Julia sighs. You are definitely a challenging student. To my annoyance, she puts the treats back in her pocket. I think Julia may be on to me. Trust. A while ago, Julia got into her head that I needed to improve my manners. We went to a dog training class. I wasn't really into the whole sit and stay and do the tango stuff. The worst command of all, truly inexcusable, only a human can come up with this order, leave it. Leave it means, walk on by, Bob. Sure, there's a piece of bacon just inches from your drooling pie hole, but do me a favor and just pretend it's not there, okay? No, not okay. Where I come from, you never pass up a free meal. UFO drops to the carpet, it's mine, and I'll be chowing it down before you can say, "Where the heck is my meatball?" Within minutes, I was accused of being an undermotivated student, which is totally unfair. I'm highly motivated. Just show me some cheese, please. Anyways, I may or may not have been a little unruly. Class clown stuff, tail spinning, a little random peeing, some zoomies just for show. "Class, you see that crazy dashing around he's doing?" said the teacher, pointing at me with an accusing finger. "We call that a FRAP, frantic random activity period." She pulled Julia aside. "He's a smart dog," she said, "but he's messing with you." Which was true, but I hated getting caught in the act. I thought I was a little more subtle. "Bob needs to know who's boss," said the teacher. He needs to see you as a pack leader. Give him some time. I see this a lot with former strays. Takes them a while to trust people. Like forever in my case. As we left the class early, I yelled, "So long, suckers," to my classmates. Couldn't help rubbing it in just a little bit. My car thing. I suppose the real reason for the training stuff isn't my bad manners, they leave a bit to be desired. It's my car thing. I've always had a hang up about cars and trucks, also riding lawnmowers, go-karts, anything with four wheels, an engine, and a driver. Don't like them, don't want to ride in them, don't want anything to do with them. Those co-pilot dogs with their heads hanging out the window, flying their drill flags, boneheads. First of all, it ain't safe, and second of all, bad stuff can happen after you climb into a car. Take it from me. When Julia and George and Sarah realized I have transportation issues, they tried to lure me into the back seat of their car with treats. But you'd be surprised how stubborn I can be. I yelped so loud the neighbors came running out to see what was happening to the poor little doggie. Score one for the poor little doggie. Click. That's when they started clicker training me. Click, here's a treat. Come closer to the car, Bob. Click, here's a treat. Watch while I open the car door, Bob. Click, here's a treat. Come right up to the car, Bob. Click, here's a treat. Come on, Bob. Bob? Bob! Where are you, Bob? Yeah, it was a lot like that. Options. Still haven't been in a car, or a truck, or a tractor for that matter. When I have to go to the Rhymes with Pet threat, Julia and her parents walk me there. They say elephants have long memories. Well, so do dogs, people. It's not like I'm afraid. I'm just exercising my options. Full wag. Are you ready to head over to the park? George asks as he passes through the living room. He's carrying 2 flashlights and a roll of masking tape. Yep, Julia says, and I do a head tilt to show I'm intrigued by this conversation. The place where Ivan and Ruby live is called Wild World Zoological Park and Sanctuary, but everybody just calls it the park. George works at the park as head groundskeeper, which means I've got some sway, and everyone who's employed there loves Julia. Give me a minute. I just need to grab my coat, says George. Straight home after that, though, Julia, says Sarah, just in case the weather gets worse. 1 minute, the weatherman's saying we're going to have a little shower. Next minute, it's the storm of the century. Julia scratches my head. I thought Hurricane Gus wasn't coming until tomorrow. Sometimes they change course, Sarah says. They can be unpredictable. You know, George says with a wink, in the old days, they only named hurricanes after women. Julia groans. That is so sexist. It's not just the wind that I'm worried about on this one, George says. It's the storm surge that could be a problem, flooding. Julia tries to make me wear her mom's latest creation, a knitted dog sweater with security written on it, which I suppose is an ironic reference to my petite size. I politely decline. All right, you win, Julia sighs. Ready for your walk, Bob? At the mention of the word walk, I go all crazy mutt, so it's clear I'm on board with the idea. Humans love it when we get silly. I think they're so weighed down by people problems that sometimes they need to be reminded of what happy looks like. Julia attaches my string. I try for a little tug of war, but she refuses to buy it. Let's go and see Ivan and Ruby, she says. Just hearing those names sends my tail into full wag. Good words, bad words. I've never met a dog who didn't get a big old grin on his kisser when walk slipped into a conversation. Dogs understand more than you might think. The Nature Channel says we're about as smart as the average human toddler. 2-year-old's my fuzzy rump. We're a million times brainier than some babbling rugrat. There was a dog on that Man's Best Friend show who supposedly understood like 1,000 human words. Border Collie, I think. Those guys need to switch to decaf. The narrator was gushing about how this wonder dog, and I'm like, well, duh, Brainiac. Of course we understand people. Not everything, mind you, and some of us are more attentive than others. Depends a lot on just how interesting your humans happen to be. Certain words will really cause our ears to perk up. The classics: treat, walk, frisbee, bacon. And don't forget the swear words: vet, bath, fireworks, vacuum cleaner. We always hear those. Clock versus moon. Julia and I wait by the front door. Well, George says goodbye to Sarah. I think maybe the hardest thing for me about being domesticated a pet, if you insist, is that I can't control my own schedule. If I had my way, I'd hang out with Ivan and Ruby all day, every day. Unfortunately, humans love their clocks. Dogs, we use the sky to tell time like any sensible creature. Sky says it's dawn, time to eat. It's noon, time to eat. It's afternoon, time to eat. It's dusk, time to eat. It's midnight, time to eat. Point is, it's always time to eat. Dogs have a thing for the moon too, like wolves and coyotes and our other relatives. No calendars for us. Moon looks like a claw. Moon looks like half a pancake. Moon looks like a tennis ball. Moon looks like a claw again. A chunk of time has passed. But humans, nope, that's not enough. It's not a chunk, it's a month. It's not just dawn, it's 6:32 a.m. on a Thursday. And boy, oh boy, we'd better hurry up and go to this school or the office or change the baby. But who gives a woof about feeding the poor, starving, sad-eyed, grumbling-tummied dog? After a spell, I got used to the comings and goings of Julia and her mom and dad, but it keeps changing. Julia leaves early for school and is gone most of the day. She returns home excited and energized, good sense mostly, but every now and then she comes back smelling a little like me after a visit to the dog trainer, battle-weary and ready to crawl into the covers. Sarah, who was pretty sick for a while, is feeling fine again, thank goodness, but she went back to work and she's away all day too. And George, who has a job at Ivan's place, works 5, sometimes 6 days a week. That means it's just me and the guinea pigs, and a lot of the time I have a doggy door. A lot of the time. And I have a doggy door and a run outside, but it's not the same as touring the neighborhood with your person. Peeing without potential audience is like talking to yourself. Sometimes I'm the teensiest bit jealous of Ivan and Ruby. They always have someone around, which is crazy, I know. I'm free and they're not, but there it is. Told you, I'm not a saint. That's what's going to happen next. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed that, and I'm so excited that we're on this journey together. That's good timing. Bye-bye. Luna, come here. Woof, woof, woof. I know. Better see what that is, probably bunny. Bye-bye.